Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment. You may know the name, but you don't know the game. As tonight, we will be taking a look at both the Siege Voyager class Starscream and the Studio Series 86 Leader class Coronation Starscream. Doing the versus review here, and joining me is my good friend Titan APD. You're supposed to say hi.
Hello. Hi.
There he is. Okay. Now,
I'm partially transforming these figures just so I could get an idea of what they look like in alt mode without fully transforming them.
yeah. Now, before we get started with the main review, I always have to call out the wonderful artwork on these boxes, because
Absolutely. There's like the siege artwork and even Earthrise and like Studio Series and stuff. Like just great, amazing job on the art.
yeah,
Like especially Siege. I adore the Siege artwork and
this
like how like very edgy. Admittedly, it's very edgy, but like that's what makes it cool.
yeah, it's one of the few things where it's like so overly edgy, but it's not overly edgy that it's cringe. It's like that. It's that Shadow the Hedgehog / Spawn level of edgy where it's over the top but still cool.
Well, Shadow the Hedgehog kind of borders on cringe, but
It borders on it, but not completely. And where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? But yeah, so there's the Siege box. And then for SS86, you got a... Hold up, let me fix the camera up. Oh, geez, sorry about that. It's a near recreation of the shot from the movie. Not quite. I believe in the movie shot, it was Astro Train and Thundercracker behind Starscream, not Ramjet and Thrust.
no, it was Ramjet.
It was Ramjet?
Yeah, it was Ramjet and Astro Train.
No.
And Thrust is there too. Thrust is there, all three of them.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Sturge
yeah.
ain't there, but
Yeah.
the Sturge, died. But
Yeah.
um,
But yeah.
yeah, Astro Train, Ramjet, and Thrust are there.
Yeah. But yeah.
And then all the Constructicons are the
Open up the box, get this out for later, and on to the actual review. So I'm going to do the review of these figures in their release order. But actually, before we get started, I'm going to do a quick size comparison between these two figures with, behind me, Siege Voyager Megatron. So here they look with Siege Megatron, just to get a sense of the scale.
Siege Megatron is a pretty good way of showing scale because a lot of people have them.
Yeah. I'm going to put Earthrise off the side there. So here's a Tetrajet and a tank. And then tank with F-15?
Yes, F-15.
Thank you. Can you tell who was more of a nerd here?
In fact, what's kind of cool, something I always kind of liked about, I can't believe I'm going to compliment Bayformers. I actually really like the idea of Starscream turning into an F-22 Raptor, because that seems like a genuine adaptation of his original, F-15 fighter jet.
Yeah.
Because again, what I was kind of hoping in Bayformers or just a live action Transformers is an adaptation of vehicle boats that they kind of already were, right?
Yeah.
So going from an F-15 to an F-22 makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
There you go. I have Thundercracker transformed.
Yeah.
Siege Starscream.
Yeah. So here's Siege Megatron, and then obviously I already did this, but direct size comparison with the two Seekers.
Definitely Earthrise is a lot bigger in terms of width.
The length, yeah.
And length. But definitely, flatter, which makes sense because it's an Earth jet.
Yeah. With a robot underneath. All jet formers.
I'll get it. I'll talk about it in the review.
Yeah. I mean, this is the review, but... anyway, but yeah. There we have... Yeah, so you have the two jet modes now. We'll put Earthrise off to the side. Take a closer look at the details of Siege Starscream, and right out of the gate, I love the damage deco on this figure. I think it's one of the best figures that does the battle damage of the Siege line. because a lot of it can feel very. It feels very like, oh, we need to put battle damage for the gimmick. It feels very. It feels like it's there due to obligation rather than being a intentional paint scheme. Starscream feels like it's very intentional. Also, I have to call this out right now. That man is playing Galaga. You thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. It just looks like the Galaga ship. I'm sorry. Siege Starscream looks like.
The Tetrajet was a design before Galaga, I think.
When did Galaga come out?
80s, I think.
Same as G1. Like, what? Since you have access to Google, Google up the release date of Galaga. But like, I can just like, ooh, I want for.
1981. Okay, so then the Tetrajet is probably the Galaga ship.
Yeah. Speaking of Galaga, I almost forgot something. A key thing. If you really want to recreate the Galaga, you can plug the bluches in. Now can you really go?
That is a point that I actually will immediately give to Siege Starscream, is that you could put the blast effects of the thrusters on the back and it doesn't look weird.
Yeah.
Because in Earthrise you have to open up the feet.
Yeah. But yeah. And speaking of the back, it is funky that like the chest is just sitting right there. At the same time, it doesn't bother me all that much. Though for the front, you can't kind of see it, like the corners of the chest like sticking out from the back. But again, it's not that bothersome. Also, Decepticon insignia, obviously. I love the cockpit too. I love the shade of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love the shade of yellow or orange, whatever you want to call it. And then of course you have the thrusters in the back. There's the bottom, very, very. I wouldn't say that kibbly, because like when you look at it from like head on, like obviously you can tell it's the knees and the arms, but like from any other angle, it like you don't really notice it all that much.
Well, what's nice about the kibble is that it feels purposeful. It feels like it is in a spot where it would go. How the thrusters do go across the whole back of the jet is what it looks like, or the arms being almost in a way like canisters or like the guns attached to it.
And speaking of thrusters, you can plug the bluches in, you can blush off into space. But yeah.
Another thing about the kibble is that you can actually pull an Earthrise Prime and just take his entire back off, because he is essentially a shell former. And you can take the entire back off and make it Tetrajet.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would be missing his wings in the robot mode, but you could still do it.
Yeah. Do you like the Beast Wars Megatron thing, like the MP Beast Wars Megatron, where you take off all the dinosaur bits and it's just left with the skeleton?
Well, what works with the Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron is that's what he looks like in the first episode, is without all the dinosaur bits.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Siege Starscream. And now for the Earthrise mold, or rather the SS86 version, the only difference between this paint job wise and jet mode is the fact that the tail fins here are missing the red and white stripes down the side here.
Also, the gray spots on the top of SS86 are not there in Earthrise.
Oh. I was wondering why they looked out of place. Also, I think I discovered a bit of...
Earthrise also has like a little bit of a darker shade of gray.
Yeah. But yeah, so, yeah, he's the F-115 Seeker. Not much to say about this. This has been talked about, like, to death. But...
Admittedly, they did an amazing job at, like, the alt mode. Arguably, the alt mode is better than the robot mode in Earthrise.
I mean, both look... Like, I love the panel lines on the alt mode. It gives it a lot of nice greebling. Same for the... Shit. I dropped Siege. Especially, I also like the panel lines on the wings for the Siege version. It gives a nice, like, greeble finish to it. It's mild, but it's there. I like that. Also, again, nice shade of orange for the cockpit there. Now right at the gate, I will of course call out this is just basically just a Voyager scaled version of the old Classics Deluxe Seeker. But honestly, I don't have an issue with that, because I mean the Classics version looked good for the time, and I do think like with the modern budget, like with the advancements the Transformers mainline stuff has made, I do think like that figure could have been definitely was improved with the Earthrise mold. Not to its absolute best, I will admit it's not. It could be a lot better, but I'm satisfied with the figure we got. Now obviously underneath, you got robot underneath, but it's jet former. What do you expect? Now weapons wise, being the SS86 version comes with a lot of accessories, as you can also store in a throne. Now I'll just show off what you can plug on what looks natural on this figure, on the base figure. So you can, come on. Yep. You got, of course, the null ray, which I do really like how the null rays turned out. Very nice, very classic. And of course, you can plug them under the wings to complete the jet look. And then, of course, you can once you plug the blooshes in, you can get them in. Hold up, can you not grip them? Barely. You barely can grip them. I'll take it apart then. Come on. Come on. Plug the bloosh. Come on. Plug the damn bloosh in. Go to your home. Okay. And then you can plug them in and you can scream at Springer and RC because you can't hit them. But yeah. But yeah, that'll do it for the alt modes. And I'll say, as far as the alt modes go, for alt modes, points for accuracy for the Earthrise mold and looking good, but the win goes to the Siege mold for its uniqueness. But let's get down to the transformation. So,
well, hold on, is it my turn now, or?
I mean, you can't. I feel like you've already given your thoughts on them, but I mean, if you want to give like more,
well, not really.
All right.
Like I gave comments, but I do want to go more in depth.
All right.
Because again, I just finished transforming all of them.
Okay. So
I'm gonna start off with Earthrise Starscream, or Siege Starscream. Go to Earthrise. So. Again, I do want to clarify, I am using Earthrise Thundercracker for this example, but it's the same mold, so it doesn't matter. Siege has such, like what he said, uniqueness to it. It's not just the Tetrajet. A lot of people think that. When you actually compare the two, there's actually quite a bit of a difference between them, and those differences, to me, translate way better in toy form. In the original cartoon, it's actually very spiky and very skinny, which does not work very well for blocky Starscream over here, right? So when translating that, they actually made the Tetrajet way more square and blocky, and honestly, it looks a lot better to me. It has a very defined shape, and the wings have a very huge, splay to them, and the nose, dipping outwards, but then having the vent on the front. And another thing is, while yes, Earthrise does have a ton of panel lining on it, the panel lining on Siege has such immaculate detail on it. It has this very industrial look to it, and I love that, especially for, a big robot. And like what Ronimus said, the painting does feel very purposeful. When you look at the painting across all of Siege, it looks like it's been zooming through explosions or dodging fire, things like that. And even, the turbines having a bunch of paint chipping near the chest, right? And another thing is that even the kibble has purpose to it. When you look at the back, it almost looks like Starscream's cockpit chest looks like a coil or power source of some kind. Or, the literal turbines on his chest become the turbines on the back, His feet become the thrusters and things like that. And, it feels like right. It has this sci-fi, almost cyberpunk vibe to it that Siege was very much good at, like, doing. A lot of other figures also have this like perfect sci-fi Transformers like feel to them, right? Now going on to Earthrise, I don't have a lot to say actually. Earthrise is kind of boring. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's the shape is on point. The jet is skinny, it's huge, it's sleek. All the panel lining are pretty much one to the real jet in the real world. The cockpit is really cool. How there's a seat and an actual dial you can see molded in.
Wait, what?
Just the problem is,
I knew about the seat. I never actually did give the viewers a good close up at the seat, but I knew about the seat. But there's a dial in the cockpit.
yeah, look. Do you see how it swoops up in the front? In fact, just remove the like nose cone headpiece, and you can see it a lot better. It's where the clip that clips into the back cockpit piece is. That is the dial.
Huh. Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Again, there's a lot of very neat detail. The stripes are actually very well applied from what I remember in the original Earthrise. Again, I am using Thundercracker here. The problem is that it's just kind of the same thing. It like what Rano said, like Siege is way more unique in what it's trying to do and how it's able to do it. The transformation, as we're going to go over for Siege, is way more intricate and interesting to me than just the same jet mold we've gotten literally for almost 20 years now, right? And that's kind of the problem with Earthrise. It's not bad, but it doesn't stand out either.
It's serviceable.
It's serviceable.
Like
also another thing, it suffers from Earthrise plastic, which is frustrating.
Well, since I have the SS86 version, I've yet to have any real issues. Except I'm not sure how it's coming off on camera, but I'm pretty sure these two hinge panels here next to these gunmetal gray panels, I'm pretty sure these are yellowing.
Yeah, I have bad yellowing on Thundercracker as well.
Yeah, it's very, I'm not sure if it's coming off on camera, but it's very noticeable in person. Like, it's not like egregiously bad. Like, it's still gray, but it's a different shade of gray compared to the rest of the figure. Again, I understand like the plastic used back then wasn't the greatest, so I can slightly forgive it. It's not like totally forgivable, but it's not so infuriating that it ruins the figure. Like I have Siege Jetfire, which I got like 5 years ago, and it's still really white. Like I have yet to experience any yellowing with that figure. But yeah. So is that for your opinions on the vehicle modes?
Yupperitos, I'm transforming them right now.
Alright, so I'll put Earthrise off to the side and we'll focus on the Siege mold. So to transform it, you're gonna take the feet, bring them down, just get them out of the way. You're gonna take the chest and pull it out. You got these two tabs that go into these two slots right here. You're going to take the thrusters, bring it back and out on the double hinge. It's going to thoop into place right here. Or, I guess tab in, but it feels more like a thoop really. And then you got a tab right here. It's going to go into a slot right there. And the wings tab in multiple places. I'll untab them. And they also have grooves in the nose cone here for the wings. So just get them untabbed. You got a 2-tab system right here that goes into slots in his arm here. And then this groove goes, this tab here on the tip of the wing goes underneath the nose cone here. So get the other wing. Untab the arm by accident. Untab the wing, bring it up. Get the arms untabbed by either get a tab here, it goes into a slot. You get the light, hit it at the slots right there. And then bring the arms back. You're going to take the whole Tetrajet and bring it up on this double hinge. Can I take the legs, bring them down? And these calf pieces here are spring loaded, so the thighs can go into the lower leg. You also have these tabs on the shin, on the calves that go into these slots in his butt. Yeah, he doesn't have one ass crack; he's got two of them. Rotate the waist 180. Take the cockpit and split it, and then bring it up. Take the chest, bring it down, and then these two tabs will go into this huge slot right here, and this will also bring up the head, and the head will untab from this panel will come out from the back of the head, and then these two tabs on said panel, tabs on the other side will go into these grooves in the Tetrajet's nose cone. And then there's tabs right here on the other side of the back. They'll go into these slots in the nose cone as well to lock it in place. So bring it down and tab it in, which can be a bit difficult, but come on. There we go, like so. Bring out the heel, bring the rest of the foot down, and bring out the toe, heel, toe. And then let me get him straightened out here. And then for the arms, which I think are my favorite part of the transformation, you bring this out, bring this panel down, flip out the hand, and then we unfold the arm on the double hinge. And you got the arms and the other arm all done. As Zemgo would say, second verse, same as the first. So panel, hand, arm, done. Let me get him in a good A stance. And then bring down the wings. And here you have Siege Starscream in his robot mode. And oh my goodness, he looks amazing. I think out of all the G1 style Starscream figures we've gotten, this is like you've probably heard this sentiment before. This is probably the best G1 style Starscream figure we've gotten like ever. Like there's no contest at all.
I just got done transforming them, so once you transformed both of them, I'll get my thoughts, and once you reviewed and compared them.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's Siege Screamer. I don't know why I'm trying to put him behind me. Just so for Earthrise, and obviously, remove the weapons, and then bring the wings down. And then bring them up. Now this side is very easy. Just knock it. The right wing, its nub is very small, so it's very easy to just knock it loose. In fact, I can just rip the wing off the clip. It's very, very loose, and I don't know how to fix that.
Thankfully for me, I do not have that issue. The mushroom peg on my wings are pretty thick and long.
Well, it's not that the clip. It's not that the peg is long. I think the clip is like, because it's a clip, it's like bending inwards. Yeah, the clip is like bending inwards slightly, so it doesn't have as much of a grip. At least for the right wing. The left wing. Yeah, the left wing definitely locks in a lot better. But yeah, and then you bring the tail fins up against the top fins, I guess you can call them. Bring up the waist tip, and he's exposing himself now. Bring down the shin panels. Untab the calves from the foot plate. Bring the legs down.
Something very important to mention when doing the legs. A lot of people complain about the legs for never tabbing in. Make sure that you have the panel on the back of the knee pegged into the little slot in the thigh. So if you look, there's actually not just one peg in the front of the shin, there's one in the back of the thigh that locks into place, and then you put the shin over the front peg. Please make sure that that is in place. That will allow the leg to not fall apart. A lot of people have complained that the leg falls apart. In reality, it's fine.
Oh, I was wondering what excuse me. I'm just not noticing what you're talking about. Yeah, there are these. Yeah, there's tabs here. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a tab right there, and it goes to a slot right there in the back of in the calf there. So you want that?
And that's what keeps the legs in place. A lot of people, as much as I don't really like the Earthrise bulb, it is secure. Nothing ever falls apart on my copy.
I've never
and
actually
the legs are no exception. A lot of people think the legs, fall apart, but they really don't. It's just mistransformed.
I've been mistransforming it since I got this damn thing.
That's what I mean.
I've been mistransforming it, but I've never had an issue. Like, the joints are so snug that's never been that, like, the legs falling apart has never been an issue for me. I'm just not discovering that. But then yeah, these tabs on his knees for the knee pads, and then bring the waist down. Split the legs, untab the top fin from the side, and then bring up the heel and then the toe. Untap tail fin, bring up the heel and toe, and there you got the legs all done. Now for the upper body, you're gonna untab, unclip it rather, and bring it back. Bring out the arms. You're gonna unthoop the cockpit, bring it up, and then rotate it around, and then bring it down. And then this huge peg here is going to go into that slot right there. And you want to bring up the rest of the body with it. So what I do is I bring the cockpit all the way down, and then I bring the chest up enough to where I can get the cockpit into that groove. And then I bring up the chest more until the cockpit gets firmly put in place. And then once that's done, I finish tabbing the rest of the body. So this tab here is going to go over these grooves on the sides here, and that's going to hold that in place, in addition to the original clips for the shoulders. So you have that, and then for the arms, bring the hand down, open up the forearm, fold out the rest of the arm, and then close it up. Bring the hand the rest of the way down. You got our arm all done. Bring down hand, open up forearm, pull out the rest of the arm, close up, bring your hand down, and then I did kind of fuck up the chest doing that. Come on. Go to your home. Thank you. And then unclip the top half of the cockpit, bring it down to reveal the head, bring the wings forward. And here you have Earthrise Starscream in his robot mode, and he is not he is uneven. Why are you uneven? Whatever. Yeah, there's Earthrise Screamer. And then you can, of course, plug the guns wherever. Plug the guns in the shoulder. Complete the look. And yeah, so there you have the transformations for both figures. And here's your first size comparison. Before I talk about the size, Titan, you want give your opinion?
Well, I guess if I'm gonna start, oh boy, Siege Starscream. Oh my god, does he look gorgeous. There is detail from head to toe on this thing, and everything has a purpose. It's not just random greebling. Everything has, wires and pipes and pieces that all fit together. Honestly, if you look at it, you could kind of see where it also becomes in the jet mode, right? It all feels purposeful. It all feels, interesting in a way, right? The articulation is immaculate with an amazing kick, a deep knee that could go even deeper with a spring-loaded hip, which admittedly is really funny, and a good toe bend, even forward and back on the feet. his head has this amazing shape to it, which gives really good personality, even if it is just a generic frown. And also, for once in a fucking lifetime, a Starscream with a waist swivel. Let's go. We want, and also a hand swivel, which is nice and cool. Even the wings can splay out, back, forward, up, down, wherever you want them to be, just to make them look cool and dynamic. If you want them to just be flat, cool, go ahead. You want them to look upwards, cool, go ahead. You just don't want them to be there, all right, just move them all the way to the back. And even where the transformation pieces go, it's not just a shell former. The fact that the cockpit nose cone could become the wing struts on the back Starscream is so clever, and it makes him look so cool and dynamic. Even the blast effect ports have a purpose, with the guns looking like the sniper from the War for Cybertron video game, and also the thrusters working very, very well for them. The painting is on point, with nothing that it looks sloppy. Even with although the battle damage looks purposeful, you can see where it's meant to be applied. And another thing that I kind of sorely miss in Transformers right now: light piping. Hallelujah. And then we get to Earthrise. Yeah, Earthrise. So as Rodimus mentioned, it is just an upscaled version of the classic Starscream. The problem with that is that that was a deluxe, bordering a Legends figure in terms of its size. I've felt that thing in real life. It's small, very small, and hardly works for a Voyager. And with Earthrise Starscream, it is on full display. The detailing is good, but there's not a whole lot of it, even less so than, say, like a lot of other Earthrise figures out there. The painting, while good, is kind of not sloppily applied, but there's not a whole lot of it other than just one big chest in the center, right? The striping is great, but the painting on the knees chips very easily, and the articulation is just poor. Other than the head, which could go pretty much anywhere you'd like him to, the wings do not nearly have as much articulation as the Siege equivalent. You can bring them back, but it kind of breaks the sculpt a little bit. The arms can hardly go anywhere because of said wings. The elbow can go just above 90 degrees, which fine, but again, nowhere near the double hinge of Siege. No wrist swivel, which why? And the knees, well, not terrible, again, are nowhere near the amazing spring-loaded gimmick on Siege. The feet, yeah, can bend and the toes go down, but again, nowhere near the range. You're seeing a trend here. Admittedly, there is blast effect ports on the chest that are better, that are a little better than Siege, which is nice. But definitely, to me, a cardinal sin on Starscreams. No, waist, swivel. Why? Why do Starscreams keep doing this? I don't get it. It's the most skinny character of all the Decepticons, and you can't make him look dynamic because of the waist swivel. And so Siege immediately beats him out of the park in that regard of articulation, painting, pretty much everything. There's not really something that Earthrise does better than Starscream other than G1 accuracy. And come on, how often do you get a Starscream that turns into a jet, specifically an Earth jet? All of the time. We've been getting an Earth mode jet for 30 years now, 40 years now. While with Siege, we've never gotten a Tetrajet before. We've had Tetrajet adjacent figures like Bumblebee movie and Transformers Cybertron, and heck, even the War for Cybertron game, but never just a true to form Tetrajet. So the fact that it has that unique style and then also passes with flying colors in its articulation, painting, and detail, there's just no real reason to pick up other Earthrise other than accuracy, which I kind of don't really care about when everything else just brings it down. It's not bad, it's just kind of boring. And so when combining all of the things that make Siege Starscream amazing and Earthrise Starscream just mid, yeah, it's kind of no competition which one is better than the other.
I do share a lot of Titan's opinions on these figures. I'll go, but As far as their size go, like I do think they're well proportioned. Like I do like Starscream actually lives kind of have it kind of gives me like the Siege Starscream actually kind of reminds me, his proportions remind me of like Transformers Prime's Starscream with like how he has like the
Starscream's a femboy. I mean, what?
He definitely screams like a bitch. Insert Jobby the Hong choke me daddy joke. But like he has like the thin lanky arms and the very short body. I do really like that. And Earthrise, you know, is just standard Starscream fare. But for one more size comparison, here he is with Siege again. Here they are with Siege and Megatron. And Siege, Megatron, and Starscream look phenomenal together. I like this is just like this is a match made in heaven right here.
Honestly, screw Siege Megatron. Compare him to Bumblebee or even Armada Megatron, and Siege Starscream looks incredible with them.
I don't have Armada Megatron. Oh geez, I just knocked over Megatron. The only Legacy figures I have are Velocitron, Scourge, and then the Stunticons.
I have a ton of Legacy figures, so I can do a lot of comparisons.
Yeah. But like they look like they belong in the same line together. Even if to use the term Dr. Lockdown suggested of the unification era, even if this era is supposed to be a very unified look, as you'll see, Siege Megatron does not look good next, in my opinion, doesn't look good next to Earthrise. He's Starscream because, as you can see, Siege Megatron has all this nice greebling and just this nice finish to him that Earthrise lacks. So he feels very much like this feels like, you know, G1 cartoon through and through. This feels like G1 cartoon in 3D. Like it reminds me of the Devastation model in a way, where like it looked like G1 if the animation didn't have so many errors. That's Siege Megatron and not Earthrise Starscream.
And then there's Earthrise Megatron.
We don't talk about Earthrise Megatron.
I had him. It was
I'm
not a fun time.
I'm so sorry. But hey, at least we're getting SS86 Megatron.
Yay!
But yeah. Should probably put Megatron away from the light. Okay. Excuse me, I got possessed by Bill Cipher there for a second.
You know, I just remembered that there was a Legacy Armada Starscream.
Hey, Titan. There's a Legacy Armada Starscream.
What?
Bro, no way! Excellent!
A comically small Star Saber too?
But yeah, so I'm going to take, now going deep into the details of Siege Starscream, we'll take a quick look at that head sculpt. As he did say, sorry for the wonky camera movement, I'm trying to get the light into his head. That is some very nice light piping. So nice. And then on...
Siege does not get out of the park with light piping in general. I mean, Shockwave sometimes actually has too bright of a light piping. It hurts my eyes.
Okay. But yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about the shaky camera movement. Had to get Starscream in front of my light. But yeah. Taking a quick look. Let me fix the camera angle. I've noticed I've been having him flat against the tape, trying to go against the table. This will probably help much better. Ah! Okay, now taking a quick look at the details. Love the Starscream head on this figure. I do wish it had a more... I do wish I kind of had your Thundercracker so I could swap the faces, because Thundercracker Sneer would fit so much better on this figure. I'm not saying like the neutral face is bad, it's just I like my Starscreams with sneers. But I love the greebling on the head. It's so nice. The chest, mwah, chef's kiss. Except for this right here. I'll get into why I don't like this when I get to the articulation. But I love the end tanks. Arms look phenomenal. I love the updated look for the null rays. And Titan mentioning they look like the null rays from the War for Cybertron game. I kind of see it. I will say that the barrel for the null rays on WFC was much longer, but still like very nice guns. Nice feet, nice legs, nice feet. And then backpack, typical Starscream backpack. Oh, I'm trying. Oh god, burp stuck in my throat. Oh well. But yeah, articulation wise, the head is. It feels like it's on a ball joint. You can see a little bit of wiggly waggly out of it. Good side to side tilt. Can look up a little bit. Can look down a bit. Head can do a full 360, and it is very snug on my copy. The wings, as Titan said, you can bring them all the way back, and you can bring them up too. And this is how I display them, with the wings going, with the wings splayed up. Gives it kind of that cape feel, in my opinion. Arms can do a full 360, though the wings get in the way of that. Outward movement, all the way out. Due to transformation, you'd have a forward butterfly joint, which is very nice.
Another thing I failed to bring up, just like the fact that Earthrise doesn't have that, it's like just a point for Siege for just having that in the first place.
You get a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow that gives you a full bend, a wrist swivel. You can't really. It's very snug on my copy, so when I try to bring it back, I end up opening the arm instead. But hey, at least he'll hold a pose. He'll definitely hold a pose. And now, this is both a pro and a con in my eyes. The waist swivel. You don't get that much waist swivel, number one. Because of the backpack. But not only that, the waist swivel, the way the waist is molded, there's a cut in the cockpit, and I do not like that. I do. I don't.
It makes it feel more dynamic rather than just, cockpit, just one giant piece going across, which is kind of something that the War for Cybertron Studio Series figure did. And while I love that figure to death, it does look a little weird how it's just like one giant slab moving.
The issue with it is, like, I don't like the cut in the middle of the cockpit shape. I don't like that cut. And that's one thing I don't like. Like, if we're gonna go a bit higher in budget, the Masterpiece Starscream versus DSO1's Crimson Wings. The Masterpiece, in my opinion, is a better figure because the transformation, from what I've seen, is not as much of a nightmare as Crimson Wing, because Masterpiece actually gives you the clearance, and while that figure does lack a waist swivel, Crimson Wing has the waist swivel, and when you use it, it breaks up the nose cone, breaks up the cockpit sculpt, because it's two separate pieces. One on the chest, one on the upper torso, one on the lower torso, and I don't like it when the cockpit is broken. On top of having awful clearance, so Masterpiece wins for me. But
the Masterpiece has a problem of literally falling apart, though. So.
But anyway, going back to these mainline figures, leg articulation can go forward that far, back about that far. Bring up the arm, back that far, outward. He can do the full splits. It's very snug on my copy, which is very nice. Got a thigh swivel. You got a full knee bend due to that spring-loaded calf. And then you got a very tiny amount of ankle pivot. Very tiny. And the feet can go forward, and they can go back slightly. So yeah. And of course, you can get multiple ports, so you can plug the guns into the forearms, which is where I like them, because it gives the figure more. It makes the figure more dynamic, because, like, one thing I've never understood about the Seeker design is having the null rays in the shoulder, because it's not ideal at all as weapon placement because it's like all you can do is bring your arm forward, to fire it, or bring your arm out to fire it. You can't. But if you lost a null ray and you had someone coming up from like if you lost your left null ray and you had someone coming from your left, you wouldn't be able to fire them because your right null ray would be on your right shoulder as opposed to your forearm, so you're screwed.
To be fair, that's another perk with Siege, that it has a ton of ports, including, one on the elbows and one on the shoulders, so it's literally just up to preference.
Yeah.
While on the Earthrise one, you could only have it on the shoulders.
I mean, you can have it on the forearms. It's just the ports are on the back of the forearms as opposed to the side.
Well, also the peg is too small. They just don't fit.
I've gotten them to fit. Yeah, you also got the ports on the wings. You got your ports on your lower leg. You got the ports on the thrusters. The thrusters also, although there's this gap, there's a slight edge. Like you have the thruster, the outer thruster, and then the inside of the thruster, and then there's the port. And sometimes like depending on what you're using, like there's no grip in the thrusters for a bloosh.
What you can do is clamp the back heel down, and it'll actually set it in place. And save
you I see.
Together. That's what it's supposed to do.
Okay. So the feet's supposed to close over the bloosh. Okay. Interesting. Kind of like
Again, it makes it look way more dynamic compared to Earthrise, where for whatever forsaken reason, the port is on the back of the heel, and so it just looks out of place.
So the siege reminds me of the battle mode on the CD Series TF1 Sentinel with the thruster heels. But yeah. And of course, you can, of course, you have all the blooshes, so you got a bloosh here on the shoulder. You got a bloosh here on the forearm. Come on. You got a bloosh on each shin. You can't do nipple blooshing, unfortunately. Can't do nipple blooshing. What you can do is plug the blooshes into the null rays. And yeah, that's awesome. I don't care what anyone says, that's awesome.
Especially when you get the purple ones.
I have the Jetfire ones. I have the orange ones from Jetfire. Who has the purple ones?
Hot Rod's weaponizer.
Oh, those ones, the smaller ones. I have the bigger ones. I do have Fire Drive with me on my shelf, but I grabbed Jetfires because they're the most dynamic of them. But now for Earthrise Starscream. Starting with the head sculpt, I do much more simplified head sculpt. I do like it. I do like the shaping is more defined on the Earthrise version compared to Starscream. There's a lot of greebling on Starscream, but the head feels very flat, aside from the greebles. But this one has a lot of thick shaping to it, so that one wins points in my book. Oh, hi, Lordzilla.
Hello.
Yeah, we're just turn on the music, please.
Gotcha.
Me and Titan are reviewing Siege and Earthrise Starscream.
Gotcha. If you need me, I'll be playing Hi-Fi Rush.
Alright, that's means the guitar. Just I love, even though it is very flat, detail-wise, I still love how the chest detail looks on the Earthrise mold. I also like this. I don't know what it is about this. I really like the gray that wraps around the cockpit. I don't know why. I do, but I just do. The arms, yeah, very plain. Still nice, but very plain. Legs, serviceable. I've never liked the tail fin kibble. I've never liked it.
The tail fin kibble is fine. It gets in the way. It does make it easier to grab onto for the ankle pivot.
Yeah.
Now, something I did fail to message or mention is I fucking hate the waist skirt. It gets so in the way, you can't move the leg anywhere, and it just looks ugly. I never understand why Transformers use one whole piece for a waist or for a hip skirt, because it just doesn't look good.
Are you talking about the front skirt?
Yeah.
Because I thought you were talking about the butt plate.
No.
But speaking of the back, yeah, your standard Starscream backpack with the nose going hanging out the back. But yeah.
I did just realize the butt plate does have a hinge where it looks like it was going to move, but it can't move.
No, it's just.
No, wait, no, this hinge is for the body. Never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the body hinge, buddy. You're an idiot, Starscream. But articulation-wise, head's on a ball joint. You get a lot more wiggly waggly out of this one. Can look up about that far. Can look down that far. Head, of course, can do a full 360. Arms can't do a full 360 due to the wings getting in the way. Outward, they can go out all the way. You got a bicep. Hold up, come on. Forgot how snug these were. You got a bicep swivel. You got an elbow bend that goes slightly over 90 degrees. For you break the hand off for transformation. And being this is due to this being the SS86 version, he does have the opening and closing hands. But the hands not look good closed because it looks like he does his like with like the Siege version. You'd see he does the the standard fist. With the SS86 version, it looks like he's doing this. Like his hands look like he's doing this when you open and close them.
He still doesn't have any wrist swivel, which is dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, like, where the hinge is placed, it doesn't really leave room to give a waist swivel.
It absolutely does. Open up Siege's arms, and you can see that it's pretty much the same size where the, hinge of the hand, would be.
Well, it's the way they mold... It's the way they molded the arms that prevents it. Like, with the Siege arms...
Yeah, but maybe they shouldn't have used a mold from 2010.
Is it really 2010? I thought it was older.
Yeah, classic 2010. Oh, no, yeah, 2005. Never mind. Yeah, even older.
It's 20 years old. My God. Obviously, no waist swivel. Bummer. Anyway. It really doesn't bother me that much. It would be nice, but it's not a deal breaker for me. But hip skirt does move up. Legs can go forward.
I think Classics is 2010s because Transformers Universe was 2005.
Well, the Classics, I don't remember anyway. Legs can go forward that far. They can go back. Basically, not at all. Outward, can almost do the full splits. You got a thigh swivel. You got slightly over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And you got your ankle pivot. Yeah. Siege wins articulation. The articulation round. The Siege figure overall is just the better figure. Obviously. Like, it just looks better. It's more fun to mess with. Just everything about it is better. Now, I will go ahead and cover the exclusive in quotation marks parts of the SS86 version right now. As I said, you do have a throne, which you can't have Starscream sitting in. Come on. And you have him sitting in the throne if you want. But what you really buy this version of this version of the mold for is for the added accessories. So let me take the base null rays off. And in the back here of the throne is where the rest of the accessories store. You got the crown, it just clips in over here. Cape pegs in here. This is where the base null rays store. And then the Coronation gear shoulder pads store at the bottom. And despite how hollow this throne is, it still feels very like it's still a very thick piece as we get heft to it. Put that off the side. And then, you know, plug the shoulder pads into the shoulders, obviously, where else would shoulder pads go. Then bring the null raise down. Shoulder pad. Cape. Come to the back, obviously. Bring up the nose cone and plug it into his back. Come on. And then, of course, the crown. Also, it is funny to me that, like, the crown is like an upright blue plastic and then it's just covered in gold and red paint. I understand why, because gold plastic is a bitch. But it's still funny. But yeah. And once again, I can't get him stand. What is up with your portions? He's constantly like, he wants to freaking, he's like, it looks like he's leaning. I'm not sure what's going on, but it looks like he's like, his torso's leaning to the side. But anyway, split the legs. So I was trying to get his stance back. But yeah, here is the Coronation gear, which in my opinion makes this version of the mold worth buying, because unless you go like for a 3D printed company route, you can't really get this look. So, and that's why the hands have the opening fingers, so you can, you know, you can also have the cape on a double hinge, so you can, you know, do the fellow Decepticons, as your ruler, huh? Sorry. Hold up, I gotta do it.
Only Siege Starscream had a combination gear.
Come on. That's what, like I said, like, you'd have to go like maybe like a 115 set or something for that look, because this gear does not work with the Siege version. I've tried. It's very messy. Come on. Come on. Why is it fighting me? There we go. Jeez. That took too long. Come on. Okay. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but oh well. I'm gonna do one more comparison because, you know, I gotta do that the bad comedy joke. Come on. Here he is with Kingdom Galvatron. If only they had a crown accessory that was crushed, they could put it under his feet. But yeah. And speaking of series accessories, the backdrop. Starscream right there, and that makes for a very nice. Get the lamp. There we go.
But let you know, you throw out the box anyway.
I keep all my boxes. I have like 3 bins of boxes, like just like giant plastic bins of boxes. because I like the artwork. They're like collector's cards for me. But yeah. Even though, actually, I will say, like, if it weren't for this specific version of the mold, I would say pass on the Earthrise mold. If you want a cool, like, collector's piece, I recommend picking up the SS86 version. Because that's what it feels like. This version feels like a specific collector's piece, as opposed to just another Starscream figure. But bringing in the Siege version back. But yeah, like, this is the absolute clear winner of this video. Like, if I'd like ranking the figures, I'd give this a 10 out of 10, perfect figure. And I'd give this one, the SS86 version, a 7 out of 10 for its it's a good collector's piece. But the Earthrise mold on its own is a 5 out of 10. It's a serviceable G1 Starscream, but it could be a lot better. And what are your rankings, Titan?
I would give Siege Starscream 4 billion out of 10, and I'd give Earthrise Starscream a solid B minus.
Solid B minus out of 10.
Yes.
But yeah, so make sure you guys, I will try and link Titan APD's YouTube channel in the description or in a pinned comment. I'll try to remember. If I don't, I apologize deeply. But thank you all for watching this episode. Subscribe and click the notification bell. Give all my future reviews and the future projects I'm going to work on. If you enjoy the review, please leave it a like. Comment what you think your favorite figure is, or what your favorite aspects of these figures are, and share with all your friends. And if you want to help support,
But Rodimus, Earthrise Starscream is clearly the winner because he's G1 accurate.
Stop! Wrong. Also, what are you doing in this review, but Jobby the Hong?
But Daddy.
If you want to help support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon page and the channel's About page, along with a link to my Discord server if you want to hang out with the rest of the Nerd Herd. This is Rodimus Magnus, rolling out.